Hi everyone, Peter and Grade here, warming your heart
Hello.
on Thursday night.
And it's nice to keep nice and warm by the fire. We've had several clients come in lately because with the colder weather and getting wetter, they're suffering with aches and pains, arthritic type problems. One lady came in, she was having difficulty walking, a lot of pain in her feet, and she did have the medical blood test diagnosis of the rheumatoid arthritis factor, but it's all boils down to inflammation in the joints and muscles causing aches and pains, and it is often exacerbated with the colder and wetter weather. So what can we do about it?
Okay, well, do you want to finish that story and then I'll say my bit?
She was on a lot of anti-inflammatory drugs and autoimmune suppressants and so on, which in my mind doesn't really make a lot of sense, because especially suppressing the immune system, because we need to build that up, because that's what keeps us nice and well and healthy. But what often causes the aches and pains is too much free-floating calcium and also acid build-up. All pain at the nerve ending is either acid or alkaline, and with arthritis it's most often an acid build-up. So we have to get the waste being cleared out of the body and get rid of that acid waste. And also, to cut down on the acid,
what did you say to that lady? So just pretend you're talking to that lady, yeah?
Well, I told her she needs to get the calcium out of her system, so where the inflammation builds up, it doesn't calcify. So with that, we need magnesium, lots of it, as much as the bowel can tolerate. And she was having trouble walking and pain in her feet, so I suggested whenever she's sitting in the evening, to soak her feet in a nice warm foot bath with a cupful of Epsom salts in it, and she could keep it there for an hour or more, just topping up the warm water. And that magnesium will soak in through the skin and it'll get rid of the acid build-up, as alkalise it, deacidify, as well as get rid of the calcium build-ups in the joints, which often causes pain. And then a pinch of borax. The parathyroid glands are in charge of free-floating calcium, and they need a pinch of borax to work properly, to get the calcium.
Pinch of borax every day.
Calcium into our bones rather than free-floating. 99% of the calcium should be in our bones, and we don't.
Definitely don't need more calcium supplements.
That's what I was saying. If you're on calcium supplements, stop them and start magnesium.
And if you're on vitamin D supplements, they often aggravate inflammation as well.
And then the other thing, to get rid of the acid build-up totally in her body, she needs to get the organs that are responsible to get rid of waste out of the body working well, which is your liver and kidneys. So
drink more water.
Good amount of water, and with adequate minerals and trace minerals as salt, 1/4 teaspoon of salt for every litre of water drunk. That also helps to deacidify, calm down that pain. And then Beetflow to get the bile flow going from the liver. And the liver and the kidneys are filters, so keeping a nice dilute blood will help the filtration system a lot better.
Okay, so this is magnesium that we recommend that works really, really well for everyone. And we've been selling that for probably 10 years now with excellent results. But Peter, I'll show you this as well. Joint Connection is a really great supplement that is a mixture of enzymes, herbs that are anti-inflammatory, so that boost your immune system, plus several vitamins and minerals that are key.
And chondroitin and glucosamine.
People get a lot of benefit from that. And the enzymes help too, because enzymes always mop up inflammation and get rid of scar tissue. So Inflanorm is another really, really great one as well.
Inflanorm has a really good range of enzymes, but it also has good anti-inflammatory, herbal anti-inflammatories in them.
And immune boosting like echinacea and so on. Some of these products are just so great. I mean, I could, I feel so happy that we have these in stock now for people. They're really the best in the world, and we've done lots of research and traveled to different countries to find what works for us, and what works pretty much for everyone. So we
often get a lot of fibrous build-up in our body, especially with arthritis and so on. And enzymes help to break that down, break the fibre.
Also in the tissue, we have bone and muscles, but we have a lot of connective tissue that people get a lot of pain in as well, and inflammation, which can be excruciating as well. So Peter mentioned about acid pain or alkaline pain, and one day, if you're wondering how that's working for you, you could take a little bit of bicarbs of soda at night. How much do you reckon?
Oh, at least half a teaspoonful
of water.
Half a glass of water.
Yeah. And if your pain goes away or it gets less, that means you were suffering from acid pain. But if your pain gets worse,
you'll probably come and curse us.
Yeah, your pain will get worse if you're suffering from alkaline pain. Yeah. I'm just telling you because you need to bear in mind that everyone is different and not everyone is too acid. Some people are have too much alkalinity. Yeah. So about the calcium. Yeah, calcium in the wrong places. That means your body will set up a fire like the one behind us in your joints or in your heart or arteries to burn away that extra calcium, because calcium in the wrong places creates inflammation.
And another major cause of inflammation is sugars and high starch carbohydrates.
Yeah, and stress.
Any blood sugar above the level of 6, a glucometer or blood sugar level above 6 millimoles per litre causes us to burn or rust,
it's more like rusting.
Pouring salt water in the engine or in the radiator of your car. We wouldn't do that because we know it'd rust, and that's what sugars are doing inside our body. So get yourselves reliant on the other fuel source, which is by far better, which is fats.
Well, and we're talking about healthy fats. Yeah. So they're not most of the fats in a supermarket shelf. Most of those fats and oils are toxic to your body. For instance, canola oil is an immunosuppressant, so that actually, kills your immune system. Yeah. So good fats are coconut oil, butter, meat fats, even old-fashioned dripping and lard, and cream and cheese.
You can also have the monounsaturated oils. They're good. So macadamia nut, olive oil, sesame seed, and peanut oil is mainly monounsaturated, but sometimes peanuts have a bit of a fungal thing.
Yeah, so don't have them. Maybe some people are allergic to them as well.
Steer clear.
So it's pretty much actually keep your diet a lot simpler and keep your stress levels under control. So how do you do that? Well, I guess the fastest way to empty out all your stress buckets is to come in for a session, really, and get a lot of the stresses cleared from your body. So this is actually a subject I feel really passionate about, and maybe I can talk for a few minutes. Why? Because when I was young, actually all my life, I watched my mom suffer a lot of pain. She always had a lot of pain, and she always had a lot of despair and hopelessness in her body. And I can remember being conscious of my mom suffering ever since probably before I could walk. I reckon I was still in nappies, because my mom had a hunchback, so she was deformed with her spine disappeared under her shoulder blade, and then it came back up in her neck, basically. So that she always had pain throughout her body, because her body wasn't, it was very misshapen. And then when she was 45, just when life should have started to get a bit better for her, she started to suffer from acute, intense pain from rheumatoid arthritis, which kept her crippled over the years, and then she died when she was 74. So what's that? 30 years of suffering on top of suffering. And I was always so conscious of her pain that I wanted to become the world's best healer. And so she became my greatest teacher, really, because in a way I could never help my mom fast enough, because no sooner had I learned something that would help her and set her up a little bit and ease her pain, she would manifest the next problem. So she was always like a few steps ahead of me with her in her kind of a destructive spiral. So from her I also learned so much that there are many, many layers to us, and diet is only one, but diet is definitely one that you can address. Because if you do what Peter and I say when you come to us for a session and we explain which foods are good for your body and which aren't, which we test at the time, and you listen to that, that already is like you open the window up for your immune system and you give it a bit of a breeze, like life becomes easier, because every day if you're bombarding your body with stuff that's going to trigger your immune system, which your immune system is already triggered, it's going to compound pain upon pain, like I saw with my mum. So my mum did make dietary corrections, but very slow. And even as a child, I realized she was eating too much sugar. She loved sugar. Her diet initially consisted of white bread, sugar, and like lots of coffee, and but meat and 3 vegetables. So we always had healthy tea. And then gradually over the years, as she sort of wisened up, she started to cut out the sugar, and eventually she cut it out completely. She cut out all gluten and what else? She really simplified her diet, which actually...
she may not have increased the other fuel sources as much as what she could.
There was a lot that she didn't do right either. She died in 2004. That was 4 years after I started as a therapist. So I also started to work with energy in those days, because I can feel the energy in people, and I started to feel that clearer and clearer. So I could feel where my mom's pain was, and then I could clear that for her a bit, and she always got some relief, but it wasn't enough because she was still doing so many things that didn't work for her. So after she died, I wanted to help everyone, like my desire to help everyone to not suffer like my mom really fueled me even more. And then of course, 1.5 years later, I got hit by a truck, and I ended up, could have ended up with a body like my mom's, because my spine was broken in lots of places. I had so many fractures in my torso, like my pelvis was smashed and my sacrum was gone, and is gone, I should say. Anyway, it's kind of embarrassing to talk about.
Rebuild itself, though, fairly
I always find it embarrassing to talk about my injuries, because it feels like I'm showing off. But anyway, at the same time, I also want people to know what's possible. So my neck was broken, my spine was broken, probably in 10 places. My ribs were smashed, my pelvis, my hip bones were smashed. There wasn't really much that wasn't smashed, you could say. One of my legs was broken, but I didn't know that till like many years later. When I read in the medical notes, I didn't read my medical notes, because I thought if I look at all the details of my injuries, I'm never going to get any better. So that was one thing I did different to my mom. My mom tended to focus on what wasn't working, whereas I tend to focus on what is working. Would you say so, Pete?
Yeah.
Because I knew anyway, I had that knowledge that if I wanted to save myself, I just always knew I want to be different to how my mom did it. And so...
focus on what you want rather than not what you don't want.
And I can feel... I'm very lucky because I can feel the energy, so I can feel where it's blocked. So I started to work with my own energy source, which is the same thing as your immune system, which is the same thing as your spirit or your higher intelligence or your life force, which has the blueprint for perfect health, and it wants to reshape your body back into a completely new body, because every year we have a completely new body. So I started to work with my own life force, and I was back at work within half a year, seeing clients again, like treating clients, who were coming to me with their problems, and I was able to forget my own problems because I was able to go back to work. So that's pretty amazing. And a few years ago I broke my wrist, and it was completely healed within 10 days. So it didn't give me any problems anymore. I'm talking about bones today because one of our daughters fell over on Sunday. She fell backwards and she broke both elbows. And this morning I spent some time helping her heal her body. So I know from all this pain and suffering that I've seen in people and that I've seen in my own body, that it's never just one thing, like it's more as well than diet, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah.
But you definitely need to give your body water. So my daughter this morning, she was very, very dehydrated. And bones are 70% water or something like that. So the simplest thing is to give your body what it needs, move out of the way so your body can heal. Come to a healer like Pete and me. Pete can feel the energy as well. And what we do is I feel where the pain is in the body with my hands. Then I find the information, like what's holding that pain there, like a blob of negative energy. And we find the information, then I blast it with energy coming out of my hands, which is, I guess, source energy. Nobody knows for sure, but it's good anyway, because people always feel better. And not only is the pain gone from the physical body, but it's also gone from the mental, spiritual, and emotional body. And I also believe it goes from our ancestors and from our children. So because in the present moment, we can change everything. We can change our reality now. We can change, and as we change our reality now, by that I mean, as we align ourselves to the source or the universal mind, we can actually heal, like a ripple effect goes out in all directions, all around us, in our family, our ancestors, and our unborn children even. So with Mika this morning, she came, of course I wanted to help her a little bit with the 2 broken elbows, and she's got 2 babies as well, and she had pain as well. I know for sure that her elbows are going to heal really, really quickly, and I'll keep you posted with that as well. So, because we have all these limitations in our mind that, okay, if you have rheumatoid arthritis, it's stuck with you forever, or if you break your ribs, people complain about that for years afterwards.
Often people have a diagnosis of back pain and they have an x-ray that shows a bulging disc, and they have it for the rest of their life. But
well, I'll tell you, it's got nothing to do with your bulging disc. It's got everything to do with some sort of issues in your tissues. I know for sure that you always have to look in your childhood, like the first 6 years of your life, including from conception onwards. So like even in your mom's tummy has an effect on you. And of course you can't do that yourself. That's why you have to come to somebody who can do that with you, not for you, with you. And that's what Pete and I and our therapists do in the Purple House. So
my eldest brother, just getting back to how babies in utero are affected, my eldest brother was kicked in the head by a horse when he was 15 months, about 1 or something, just starting to walk. And my mum was pregnant with my second eldest brother, and went through, would have been horrific stress with my eldest brother in hospital with a swollen head and not knowing whether he'd have brain damage or not. And my second brother didn't smile for 12 months.
Yeah, he didn't smile because he didn't feel like smiling, because he'd been so stressed.
That stress would have affected him tremendously.
And also stress has a huge effect on inflammation, that's true. So that's another reason why there's lots now that you can do anyway in today's world to reduce your stress levels, like you can download apps to do with what is it?
Mindfulness, EFT.
Yeah, EFT, that's Emotional Freedom Technique. I highly recommend that you download that app. Meditation, go for walks, grounding yourself.
Go out in the forest.
There's so much available now that you can do to help yourself, but ultimately, I do feel you need to believe in yourself. And you need to maybe get inspiration from somebody who's been there and done that. So like somebody who was sick and they're now better. You get so much courage from that, because otherwise you feel like giving up. It's like when you've lost an object, let's say you've lost your glasses or something and you don't know where you've lost them. If you know for sure they're in the house, you feel more positive that you're going to find them. But if you're not sure that whether they're in the house or in the car or at your workplace, you're kind of searching half-heartedly. So I feel when it comes to your health, you have to be so passionate about it that you're never going to stop and never going to give up. Never. That's my message for tomorrow. Just never. If you have pain, don't stop looking. Don't stop looking for answers, and don't stop few changes.
You can also start listening to your body, because your body is giving you pain because it's trying to tell you something. So
that's right.
Pop your hand on that part of your body that's paining and just ask yourself, what are you feeling now?
Yeah, what are you feeling?
What are you feeling now? Mm-hmm. Because your body is trying to tell you something, and say what you're feeling.
Yeah, you actually say, what am I feeling now?
So,
and then you go like, say, if you have a headache,
I'm
you
feeling,
go like, first of all, it might be just something simple like,
pain even. I'm feeling pain.
I'm feeling a headache. I'm feeling a headache. And then you can suddenly get a picture or something, and then you can say, I'm feeling annoyed. I'm feeling annoyed. And then you go, I'm feeling sad. Because actually, a lot of these feelings are covering up sadness and or anger or fear even. That's right. So with my daughter Miki this morning, there were definitely some really interesting layers to why her body set her up so she fell backwards and broke both elbows. And there was like a division in her. Miki is always a bit divided, and I've done, in one of my previous Facebook lives, I actually did an, what do you call it?
Parts integration.
Where we merged two different parts of her. Because whenever we disconnect in our body, we're going to suffer somewhere. If we have disconnect between our past and our present, disconnect between our conscious or unconscious mind, disconnecting different parts of our body, we're definitely going to attract pain. So, and these are all good things to do. And then usually when I think the session is finished, I check with my hands, like with the clients, if there's any more like energy blocks like that. And usually I make sure that they're all gone, and that usually means your life has been changed. It's a life-changing session. And of course, that's something that everybody can learn, and everybody should have an opportunity to experience it as well. Yeah, so doing things that you enjoy, so laughing a lot is important as well. Lightening up your mood, so if you don't feel very, if you suffer from a lot of stress and tension in your body, just do something easy like watch a funny movie, watch a series of funny movies. What else can you think about? And just do something ridiculous.
Well, our little babies give us a lot of joy, so
we laugh at the babies.
Spending time with them and nursing them, looking after them.
That's our grandchildren.
And we get a lot of joy out of them. Yeah. So that puts us on the other spectrum of the stress.
That's right, because they're not our kids anymore, so we can enjoy them. Yeah. Or playing with your dog, or just watching, like I said, watch a funny movie.
No, every morning I go and feed the chooks and the ducks, and they are all around my feet, and I get a lot of joy out of that too.
Plus, I do take supplements as well. Like every day, I take lots of magnesium. I take iodine. I wouldn't dare to live my life without iodine and magnesium. No. And Beetflow, I take Beetflow every day, single day. And I take enzymes every single day.
They are my four.
They're the cornerstone, really, of my health.
As well. Yeah.
And, it works, so why shouldn't I do that? Plus, I keep my diet really, really simple. And I really enjoy everything that I eat.
Stiffness and aches and pains will disappear if you cut out the sugars and get yourselves reliant on fats for energy, because I've proved that I can bend further now and almost touch the palms of my hands on the floor at age 61, whereas I could never do that before when I was on more of a carbohydrate diet.
And plus, even Peter's mind is more flexible. I can challenge him, and he just laughs now when I challenge him, because I love to challenge Peter. That's just who I am. Because your mind is reflected in your body, and your body is a reflection of your mind. So if your mind is
or if your body's tense, then your mind.
Body then. If you don't have much flexibility in your body, it's literally not. It's most of the time impossible to have a flexible mind as well. So it's all the same thing. Your body and your mind are literally almost the same thing while we are in the body. But after we die, of course, everything changes. But when you die, it still feels really normal as well. So that's something for another session, maybe, if we can talk about that another time.
Yep.
So thanks for
watching.
Tuning in. I'm getting hot here.
Yeah,
I'm getting stressed because I'm getting hot.
It is warming up now.
I hope you all stay nice and warm.
Yep.
And pop in to the clinic, say hello if you live in Tasmania or if you live nearby, or shoot us a message, or put a comment in the comment box if you have any questions. But it's all good. Thanks for watching. Look after yourself. You're so worth looking after yourself, and you deserve to have a good life. So if you have aches and pains or problems, or you're stuck somewhere, or you're feeling depressed or anxious, definitely don't stop till you feel better. Don't stop till you have come out on the other side and life is good again. So keep going, and keep looking for answers, because you're worth it. Okay. Love you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.